What's up, guys? Welcome back. So about 2 years ago, something like that, you saw me switch out the Coney yellow single adjustable shocks in the rear of the car, and now today we're going to be doing the same thing, swapping out the Coney yellow single adjustable struts in the front of the car with the same thing that was there that I put in the back of the car, which is going to be some Viking Double Adjustable struts and coilovers. Anyways, step one is going to be getting the old stuff out, so follow along while I do this. Sometimes you can do this without a spring compressor. You just take the floor jack, lift up underneath the front control arm, take some tension off the spring, or put some tension on it rather, so that it's not hanging. Then you will be able to loosen the upper strut mount and then swing the whole thing out, controlled with the jack. Right, so the next step in taking these struts out, you saw we pulled out the springs a minute ago, and then you loosen up these nuts on the back of the spindle. If you don't want to fight with it, do that before you take the spring out. Just crack them loose, otherwise it was a bear to get them out. Use my 3-foot breaker bar and still followed it. But anyways, next step is, because these will run right into the back of the disc, take the disc off. I have Willwood, so if you have stock brakes, it's a little bit different, but just watch along real quick. All right, so something to note. If you can hear that, that is the brakes dragging on the disc. They drag because the design of the calipers and all that, how it pushes the pistons in on this. If you want to know more, give me a call at the shop and I can explain it a little bit better or in more detail on what we're going to go into here. But needless to say, if with a proper caliper, it will not do that. You've seen the videos from some of the other guys. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but we will be swapping these out with something that has zero drag. Anyways, our next step, so we're going to take the cotter pin out. And we're going to pull the pads out through the top. And again, with a properly set up system, you should not need to fight with these. These pads should go smoothly in and out. These do, even though they still drag in the caliper. Now once those pads are out, zero drag. Anyways, our next step, we're going to come in here and we're going to wrap the caliper. And try not to drop the shims all over the floor. And still drop it. Move the caliper out of the way. And then our last step is to take castle nut out of here, pull the whole hat and rotor off. Actually, before we do that, quick story time, since y'all love that. The other day we were having a problem. We had a customer call in having problems with his TBM brakes. He can't get it set up right. Blah blah. We go through all the troubleshooting steps. We say, hey, have you followed the directions? Blah blah. I don't need instructions. They're just bolts. Blah blah. I know what I'm doing. All right. Clearly you don't because you're calling in for help. But okay, let's continue. So, guy stating his problem. Blah blah. Hey man, tell me, shoot me some pictures of how you got this thing going on. He had the fucking caliper bracket on the wrong side of the spindle. It was on a S650 Mustang. Caliper bracket's supposed to go on this side, where the pitman, steering tie rod end is. Instead, he had it on this side. That's all a big fancy way of saying, read the instructions. So anyways, also make sure you put your cotter pins in the castle nuts on your spindle, or they're not going to come out very, or they can come loose, I guess is what I should say. And check your bearings. Unlike your cam bearings, these are fine to look at. So now that's all out of the way. Then you can take out these two bolts here, and your whole Coney yellow that's painted black comes right out. And because we don't want to lose anything in the install, because I'm not putting this back together tonight, we'll put our hat and bearings back together. But we're still not putting a cotter pin back in. We'll do that when we reassemble for good. All right, just like that. We got the old struts out, and we're ready to start throwing new parts in. But that'll be a project for another day. For you, I don't know, like 3 seconds. The first thing that we're going to do is apply anti-seize to the bottom few threads. We'll coat the rest of them later. Once that's done, we're going to run the ride height adjuster and the jam nut down to the bottom of the threads. We're then going to apply grease onto the Torrington bearings and washers. This is going to be a maintenance item. You do not want these bearings to run dry or get dirt in them and seize up. Next, we're going to apply anti-seize along the rest of the threads on the shock body. Following that, we'll install the spring in. The top of the strut is going to be the same as the bottom. Anything that's going to have a bearing riding on it needs grease. That's pretty much it. Now you're ready to install the shock or strut into the vehicle. Okay, let's talk about strut mount for a minute. I've got the Founders caster camber plates on here. I've had them on for a few years. Now, a couple things to note is that the bushing, or the bearing rather, is a different diameter for the Vikings than for the Coney Yellows, which are like a stock replacement type strut. So anyways, the bearing in the Founders caster camber plate is a different diameter than the Viking. So what you end up needing is a couple of spacers, and they come Founders will sell you this bearing for coilovers with a bunch of spacers. However, none of them fit on the Viking, so I took them to work and I had asked Brent Sands to do me a favor, and he turned out the inside diameter of these spacers. He took about 30 thousandths out of them so that it could pass through there, and then the spacer fits just like that, one on the top, one on the bottom, and then the nut captures the strut rod that goes through there. But that's just a point worth mentioning. If you're gonna spend the money, or if you have stock ones now and you're gonna be putting these deals on, skip the Founders and go to the Racecraft ones, because they do drop right in. However, they're like $300, which this was a little bit cheaper to go the route of having these machined. Anyways, back to the install. All right, so before we get started on reassembly, well, we're doing a reassembly, but the strut goes in 2 bolts down here. I did have the clearance between the strut and the spindle down there at the bottom. It contacted just a little bit. Also had to open up around the top of the shock tower for the coilover to go through there, and the nut attaches on the top. All right, now the strut's in. Next up is putting the caliper back on the caliper bracket, getting it centered in, getting the caliper centered on the rotor, tighten all that up, slot the pads back in, and then put the cotter pin back in the capsule nut. All right, hold on and watch.
You can do it. You can do it, hey, hey. You can do it. Come on, you can do it. You can do it. You can do it. Come on, you can do it. Got to try. Open your eyes and take the prize. Oh, there's no one you can blame but yourself. You can do it. You can do it. You can do it. Come on, you can do it. You can do it. You can do it. You can do it. Come on, you can do it. You can do it. You can do it. You can do it. Come on, you can do it. You can do it. You can do it. You can do it. Come on, you can do it. You can do it. You can do it.
Okay, so there you saw the complete install of the Viking struts on a 3rd gen. It was done a little bit ago. In the next video, we'll be showing you how I did an alignment here at home using tape measure, string, plumb bob, etc., etc. Sometimes called the jack stand method, sometimes called the string method. Go ahead and show you that. This install, a little bit more involved than the past couple ones you've seen. I hope you enjoyed the video. Like, share, comment, subscribe if you like. It does help out the channel. Also, there's merch available in the store. Link in the description below. That's going to do it for this one. Take care. Hope you all are doing well.